Aloha Kohala. You are listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala on March 26, 2025. This is Intuitive Talk Story with Eila, Allgood, and
Michál, Anna.
And we are happy to be with you live and in person today.
Yes, it has been a while, Miss Eila, and I'm so grateful to be here with you on this really pivotal week. We are in smack in eclipse season, for those of you who aren't aware of that. Eclipses are happening, which always means massive movement and energy. And this particular equinox that we just had, moving into spring and beginnings, feels like a really big one of endings of ending. I'm calling it the ending of endings.
Yeah.
And the beginning of beginnings.
Yeah, well, you can't have the beginnings without some endings, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I'd ask everybody who's listening right now to just think about what is moving out of your life. What is no longer in accordance or alignment to that which you are wanting to create in your experience. And letting it go with surrender, with grace, with ease. It might just not fit anymore. It may just not be in alignment with who you want to be, with who you are, with where you're going. I think everyone, for me, last year was the big crush, but I think a lot of people are doing the big crush now. And that's been a year for me, and it is a big crush. And I would say it's about letting go of that which is not in alignment and making a choice to really, really honor the path that you are choosing for your divine infinite self.
Well, and in this moment, you know, I think a lot, I feel like in the past I've had like a vision of what I want in the future. And I feel now I can't really do that. I need to be in the moment and be aware of the energy now and make a decision now and then see what tomorrow brings or later brings. Like I don't feel like I want to be over planning anything right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
No over planning. Stay here
cumbersome.
right now.
Well, and because so much is changing, you know, internally and externally. So, you know, when somebody says, well, what are you going to do with this or that in 3 months? I'm like, really? I don't know.
Who knows? I don't.
Yeah.
And I think that brings up a really great place of this time that we're talking about, of change, surrender. We are splitting timelines, if that means anything to you out there. It just means some people are choosing to let go and have greater evolve and embody more love, kindness, humility, you know, look at the self, take a hard look and deal with some things, right? That's one path. Another path is to not really deal with much and go the path of power or the path of ignorance and just kind of, you know, compost our way through. So there's no right way. Honestly, everything goes home to God. In my viewpoint, everything is, it's all one thing. You can go home however you like. You can go home fast. You can go home slow. You can go home with accreting all of your consciousness, or you can go home returning to space dust. Either one, we're all going to the same place, which is really exciting and relieving.
Right, because you don't have to do anything. I'm finding it's just really important for me to keep listening to what's coming through me and to act on that if I need to take action or not act on that if I don't need to take action and not do anything out of obligation, even though I think maybe I don't do that. Well, I find that my body is telling me if I'm going to go do something and it's like, you know, I don't want to do that. I don't have to have 1,000 good reasons why not, right?
You can just listen to yourself. I love that.
Yeah,
I
really
love
listen.
it.
Deep listening, though. And for somebody who's been challenged with speaking truth, that's part of it for me, is really getting in touch with what my needs are, what my wants really needs are, and then being able to verbalize that, not just back away because it's scary to talk to someone and tell them something, but to really speak to it and not do it perfectly. That's hard for me.
I really love that. And I actually love what you're saying because I'm the exact opposite, which is why you and I have had so much fun in this show too,
Yeah.
because we have such different angles.
Different styles.
For me, it's
Yes.
been the opposite, learning to not tell the truth and not say what I see or feel and allow, like it just is that way. Like I've had to have some hard moments myself of seeing a lot of truth and realizing that's why I say and go home fast or slow, but many really don't. I've realized many don't really care about the truth. They really just want to see things from where they want to see it from.
Right.
They don't really care if there's truth or not.
Yeah, well, that's what their movie's about. They have
Right.
a different subject for their movie
Totally.
than I do or you do, right?
Right. I'm
Yeah.
just saying
Yeah.
that so I can share my point or my expression of like, yeah. So for me, I've been going, wow, pulling back more of like, ooh, I don't have to always speak the truth, even though for me, that's like where I always want to go. I always want to speak the truth. So I love that for you, it's an empowerment to speak the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, it's an empowerment to sit back. And so that's really
Yeah.
cool. See, we're all at different places, and I just want to
Yeah.
express that, like right here, we're in
Yeah.
different places. So you might be in a different place, and somewhere in that spectrum of where am I in speaking my truth, or how do I deal with, the things I want to say or experience? Do I feel like I'm being heard or valued? These are big topics, and we all are
Right.
in a huge experience of that, of being heard, valued, feeling worthy, feeling like I can speak my heart and mind, and that ultimately our experiences are offering us opportunities to come into our 0 point balance where we just can do that with no energy in any direction, right? It just feels natural to not speak my truth or for you to speak your truth, right?
Right, right. And I think, as you were talking about that, it's two sides of the same coin, kind of like it's really looking at what is my challenge right now and being more conscious of that. And you have whatever your challenges are and being more conscious of that and making decisions moment by moment based on what I'm feeling rather than what I think would be the nice thing to say or do.
Yeah, and then when we've talked about this a lot in the show around following threads and programs and getting to the root of what something's from. So when we're having like this kind of cool exploratory thing we're talking about right now, like, ooh, do I want to do that? Do I not? Then why don't I want to? Well, because nobody's going to talk to me anyway, or, well, nobody sees me down there at that spot anyway, or they don't like me anyway. If I go to my little girl and I hear what she's saying, she's like, well, they don't even like me. They're not nice to me anyway. Oh, so see, then the real deal is that I'm feeling, my little girl isn't feeling safe or feeling supported. See, as the world doesn't speak to things in this terms. They're just like, hey, what, you good? Get over it. Okay, go. Let's go. Get your stuff. Let's go.
Yeah.
We live in such a 3D, like we don't tune in this way. And for people like you and me who tune in like this, well, all the time, it can get, you when you're an empathic and you're always tuning in, it can hurt your feelers. I've had a lot of hurt feelers in my life. And it's not anyone's fault. It's, because I'm just really feeling everything. Right?
Well, and it's learning how to navigate that. So I'm still learning
Exactly.
how to navigate that, speaking truthfully, and also I'm feeling things. And if Susie's in the room right now and Susie are speaking some things, and although it sounds good, my intuition's telling me there's something else there. How do I navigate that? And learning how to navigate that is a kind of endless job.
Endless job. I think that's kind of like
Yeah.
our whole gig here, is navigating this place, the Earth game, and understanding the many different things that are running. So this, when you said that, I just like a million things pop up of wanting to share of, well, why? What does it feel that way? Well, we've talked a lot about, again, these programs, woundings. When we have woundings, simply put, to what you were just saying, we have all these woundings. So let's say I'm still working, out a mother issue, and I still don't have, feel supported by my mother. If I don't feel supported by the feminine, then I'm probably not going to be very supportive or be able to hold that kind of space for another woman. And I'm also going to probably be inverted in how I navigate my masculine energy, my outward energy. I might be, doing that in ego or doing that in some sort of other format because I wasn't supported. And so that then creates programs. So that first wound now creates a myriad of programs that can come in. So now I might replace that with control issues. I might use, like let's just talk on the computer and never have in-person conversations.
Right.
I might use all sorts of filters to kind of try to prevent myself from dealing with this wound. So we have to acknowledge what we're running, and then also realize that everyone else is doing the same thing. So when I'm talking to Joe Blow and I feel something like that doesn't feel right, he's telling me, yeah, I really love what you're doing, but I don't feel that from Joe Blow. Well, maybe because he's got a lot of angst going on, and he's also dealing with his mother-father issues.
Yeah.
And he's also not clear about, whether he feels good about himself. So I can, A, not take it personal if I'm feeling something. A, it's not mine. B, it's that person's. So that's the first number one thing, is if we all just realize, hey, take nothing personal. Everyone's on the game dealing with themselves. No one's just like,
no one's got it all figured out.
No, they're not.
That's
just
why they're
static.
here.
Right. We're all here because we're figuring something out. We're doing something. So while you're here, our first thing is like, give a little compassion. Don't take it personal. Back to the Toltec agreements. Take nothing personal.
Right.
Make no assumptions. Always do your best. Be impeccable with your word. So if we work from like that leaping point, we can see that, oh, right, everyone's dealing with a lot all the time.
Yeah. Well, and you were talking about, did I feel, did you or did whoever feel supported as a child by, and I've been looking at a lot of that stuff lately, and there's no like big gongs going off about my childhood, but there's a lot of little bells.
Oh, I love how you put that.
I don't know where that came from, but
I love it.
And so like my mom was this way, and I was looking at some food issues today. I've been really great about my eating, and then I started to snack the other day, and I was talking to therapy today, so I'm like, I want to look at this. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of snacking, and it doesn't feel good. And so that it helped me to go back to little me, who used to do that as a nurturing, because I wasn't getting it from mom. And so the process we went through today was me meeting little me, and we talk about this all the time, and giving little me the love and nurturance she needs. So big me's not going to go eat the snacks to feel some I guess it's nurturance, really, like self-nurturance. Like, I want that. I can have that. Makes me feel good in the moment. So,
Totally.
And I think that's true with a lot of, many people and many different types of addictions and habits that form. They start when we're really young based on things that happened in our life. So as we work through this stuff, as we're going through our process, it really helps to go there and heal those moments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was finding different times of this last year. I've been doing a sweep and purifications of all kinds and really being led to many spots. And I was led to doing activities from my youth, even like things that I haven't done in a long time are coming back in. And I felt like, because it was like the last cycle I've been healing had so much to do with that little part of me. I was playing that all out so that I could then heal it and see it and then come back into wholeness with it. I myself feel kind of like I've had these multiple lives. Well, we all do have these multiple lives rolling with all our different versions of self. And I've been able to collect quite a few versions of self and come into wholeness, into this, like, I feel like I'm like on one line now versus multiple, which I really felt like I was juggling before multiple lives
what
of
do you think
energies.
that is? What is that like?
Well, I know what it is for myself,
Yeah.
actually, quite deeply. It was actually other lifetimes of energies and holdings and restrictions, and gets into deeper stuff when we start to talk about Metatronic inversions and kind of what I see as a practitioner and what I help people do in the shamanic work that really I'm doing is around helping people to set our temples upright and realize the deep inversions we're actually kind of all in. If we've been here in this earth game, we all fell into 3D. So we've been inverted. We haven't been activating our female or masculine in the upright position. We've been doing all those other things. So we've gotten stuck because we've been here a long time, gotten stuck in lots of different frameworks. So I've been traveling through different lifetimes of mine and retrieving things from those lifetimes, which has been really fascinating, and then bringing them back into alignment. Which is kind of the same stuff I do with other folks. But another aspect of that for myself in this last cycle went really, really, really far back. Like I went really far back. And I'm not going to get into my whole story here, but there is very powerful and a lot of different pieces and remembrances that came back in. So it feels really different than it did before in understanding who I am at that capacity and kind of that far back.
So you feel, let me understand, that you have experienced yourself in different lifetimes and have been looking at different instances in those lifetimes in order to heal those different parts. But it's all part of you. It's all your soul in these different lifetimes.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And every person's really doing this, whether you know it or not. It's just whether you're conscious of it. Because all of us here have multiple versions of ourselves in all sorts of different dimensional frameworks of this 15-dimensional matrix. So you're kind of collecting those different pieces out of the other spaces and getting them in alignment with each other so that we kind of everything's lining up into one thing versus all these threads of stories per se.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is, which is also why, for me, this last cycle has also been a really big, and this is one for all the stars out there, super zealous stars like myself who are like, we're going to go out there and wake everybody up, and it's going to be so amazing. That's where I was all my life, pretty much. And I realized that, well, gosh, not everybody's waking up this time. And, well, not everybody really even can. Because we're all in different areas of the long game. If you go wide and you go, oh, it's lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, it's thousands, millions years. We're all at different points in that game.
Right.
We're all started at different times. We're all like at different lessons. And some people, like we were just talking about the father-mother wounding, if you don't have the mother, if like the wounding is so great in the capacity to feel love, from a divine feminine, the life-giving principle. If that is so traumatized and wounded in a being, it's going to be very difficult to hold the charge of love in this lifetime. A being might just be working on a lesson like just trying to come to grips with themselves or just, to take care of their basic needs. A person might just be doing that in this lifetime. They might just be like, an aunt of mine is like, I know my whole gig this time is just to care for others. That's it. And I'll come back next time and do something different. Like she knows that. So, and in the Indian Vedics, they say a lot like, oh, thank you very much. Next time maybe you'll be a goat or something like that. Right? Because they know you're not going this time. Yeah. It's just one of your rounds. You're learning a lesson. So, it's fun to know where you are and you feel it. Like you feel if things I'm talking about, like that is out there stuff. Well, probably is. No problem. It's just not for you in this moment. Or
right. It's not where you are.
It's not where you are.
And
it's
where
okay.
you want to be. And that's
no
fine
problem.
Too. Right.
We're all.
Right. That's. Yeah.
We're all on our gig and our spirals. And I myself am aware that I am literally been here a long time and I am not ready. I'm not like, I need to get out of here. I'm just ready to move into higher frameworks, which to me is a vibrational existence. It's not like I'm physically leaving. I'm just vibrationally enjoying the process of moving my framework into higher and higher vibrational fields. And that feels really comfortable and natural and, it's been a spirit-led mission, journey, experience, my whole existence in this lifetime. So it's not like, it just is that for me.
Yeah. Well, that's your truth.
Yeah, it's my truth.
Yeah. And, when you're talking about the love, if you're maybe don't experience unconditional love from your mother, your parent, that maybe that's harder for you when you grow up because you haven't had that. And what came up for me was caretaking. I feel that sometimes being a caretaker or thinking of oneself as a caretaker, we think that that is love. We equate that because have some experience in this area.
I can almost feel the obligation radiating out of
Yes.
that right now, like towards like from your energy about it.
It's an obligatory
It doesn't feel like love at all.
No, it's not. And I'm just kind of exploring it right in this second about thinking that, well, the way one expresses love is by caretaking. And I'm really getting that, that's not my truth. That is something that is a program somewhere, and that I took on and said, oh, that must be what love is, because maybe I didn't experience it. So it's very, it's really amazing to explore these concepts and then say, oh, well, maybe this and that, and that's that program going. Take care of people because that's what love is.
And we're all kind of given these pictures of what love, quote unquote, is from our family, from our upbringing. And if we've had difficulty or broken homes, like some of us have, we've had, you've had to move through the mire a little bit to find that wholeness of what is love, because it hasn't been you hadn't seen it in a healthy form. Most of us haven't. We're finding those places. And I really, again, shout out to all the pure heart, true love couples out there who are really doing it and really, surrendering. And I want to shout out to the masculine, to the men out there who are really doing it, who are really surrendering as waters to the divine feminine. It is not easy for the men right now. And literally you're dealing with DNA of war, pillaging, the massive amounts of treachery that's happened on this planet. You're moving all that out of your system. It's not easy to do. And it does require tools. That's why I talk so much about tools and using these tools and going within, remembering there's nobody out there, because it gets tricky. So thank you to the men out there who are navigating the tools, who are going to the Holy Mother, who are giving thanks and praise, who are putting your face to the ground and asking your spirit guides to help you to stand in integral, respectable men and really rise and listen to your women, listen to the women in general, because the man is truly like the protect the perimeter, while the women in this moment are really navigating the connection to source, are really the vessels of honoring and bringing forth the call of the mother. So if we can get in alignment as a society, those that are ready for that, we're here, and it's time to listen. As we began, as Eila was speaking of earlier, now is the only thing to do is to listen. We don't need to know anything. We all need to surrender completely to our when I say Holy Mother, I mean the life-giving magnetic principle of the divine essence of feminine energy, which each of us has. When I speak of the masculine, I'm speaking of the divine electrical energy of the divine masculine principle, which each of us has. And these two principles have to come into wholeness within our own selves. This creates the Trinity that I speak of, that we all speak of, right? The Christos, the Trinity of that harmonic balance of these two energies, finding wholeness within ourselves to navigate in a harmonic balance, to then produce that Christos, which is our own inner Christ, that we stand in the love of the infinite, motivated and connected by the God of our heart, right? Listening through our high heart, listening through a whole framework, and then moving these temples that we inhabit from this place, rather than from a dualistic bi-wave place, or one that's a snake eating itself.
What do you mean dualistic when you're talking about that?
So anything that pushes hierarchy, anything that's a this or that, is a dualistic framework. If it's either black or white, then we are no longer working in unity, right? So I'm working in a unity framework, which I started this conversation saying everything's going back to the one, right? Like whether you go high or low, whether you go, heaven or hell, like if we talk religion path, either one of those paths, whatever path you choose, is going to take you home to the one, because this whole thing is the one. You can either compost the space dust and remember none of it, or you can accrete your consciousness and gather consciousness and come into wholeness and actually grow into wholeness through the game. Think like you're in a big game. You're either going to compost out of it or you're going to rise up in it. You still exist outside of the game anyway. We all do. God exists. God is, so to speak. So it's so anything pushing hierarchy where I have to give my power away to something else outside of myself is a dualistic system, because the truth is all things exist. And it's really, if I move into balance and harmony and go, well, it's neither this nor that. In fact,
it's both.
I come up here, it's both of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on debate team when I was in high school, right?
Yeah.
I can argue any point. You can argue every point and find truth in something. Back to that, where are you sitting at the fire? Where are you looking at it? There's purple on my side. What's it like on your side, Eila?
Right, yeah. And that's something I was just reading about recently, was the duality versus polarity.
So another thing I mentioned just now, which is something I love for anyone, go check it out, is the Fibonacci spiral versus the Christic spiral. This is a great mathematic quantum physics way for you to see what it is I'm speaking about. A dualistic biowave frequency is the Fibonacci spiral, works in a dualistic framework. The Christic spiral works in a tri-wave, in that it's go forth, who knows the passage, this passage, go forth, expand, and multiply. Well, that's math. So go forth, expand, and multiply. On the Christic spiral, you are expanding and multiplying. 1 times 1 is 2. And then it adds together. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So you're actually creating a multiplication, whereas the Fibonacci sequence eats itself. The numbers combine and eat. And if you mathematically started to go down that spiral, you would find that once you get further along down the spiral, keep going, you can't get back to zero. You can't find the pattern to get back to zero. See, whereas the crystal spiral, if you're on an expand and multiply spiral, you're not consuming the numbers, you're expanding and multiplying the numbers, which means you're radiating more and more energy, because I am an eternal living being. I have the energy. So, and I could go back to zero because I'm connected to 0 point at all times, which is connected to source, connected to the 0 point energy of God's source, of that which is our genesis, the source of all creation. We are connected infinitely, always, and eternally to the source of all creation, guided eternally by the source of all creation, having a direct line to that infinite wisdom, knowledge, etc.
So as you talk about these two different spirals, how does that translate into somebody's life? Like, is it something that we're conscious of, or it's just something that's shifting, you see as shifting right now, where it's part of how we're made up?
Well, so the first one is a Metatronic spiral, that Fibonacci, which is what most of us have been in no matter what, because we didn't know. We didn't understand any of this. So we all were kind of duped in that. And so basically we've all been running that spiral until we choose to not. We've all been consuming power, or in some form, or giving it up in some form. The society itself teaches you to give your power away to everyone else.
So it's about power. It's about how we're creating power, using power, personal power.
Absolutely. And it is that without love, so here's like the most simplest, what's this whole place, the earth is kind of, I'm going to use Christian words right now, but it could be translated into any language words. Okay. I'm just going to, for the sake of talking about something, Lucifer's world is founded in the inversion, which is founded in, you don't really have my back, Eila. And so I'm out for myself. I'm going to compete with you. And then I'm going to get on top. And then I'm going to be on top. And then that's power, because I got power. And
Power
over love.
Yeah.
The Christic spiral requires one to operate from humility and love, which means we have to surrender, because that first model is based in a toxic male, toxic masculinity. It's based in inversion of the masculine and no real love of the feminine.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is founded in the divine feminine,
Mm-hmm.
founded in the platform of love,
Mm-hmm.
and is springing forth from, hey, Eila and I are sisters. She's got my back.
Mm-hmm.
We love each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to compete with her about something. And then when, and this will bless her too. Oh, I'm going to get everybody to go. We're all going to go. It's going to be so fun. And see, now we're talking about a unified platform, one that doesn't assume that somebody can't have something because somebody else does, but one that is in abundance, one where there's more than enough, and it's a unified. So I'm not competing, I'm cooperating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually working in a unified work because we're supported.
And we can work with one another, and actually a lot more positivity, more energy, and more power can happen from that.
True power, because true power is founded on love.
Mm-hmm.
Love is still the answer. Ha ha ha. It really is. And I mean, the truth is that the game out there is trying to get you to try to follow some false light power, because it's a trick. Do you want power, Eila? You want some power?
Right.
Look, this is shiny over here. I want some power.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about power, see? It's about love. Because when you walk in love, you have the ultimate power. So when I'm, casting out demons per se, I'm not doing that from a place of power. I'm doing it from absolute love, like a mother. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to go home to your rightful place in the light. You're lost. You're separated from source. You forgot who you are. Mm-hmm. Would you like to go home? No, I don't want to go home. I'm going to keep eating here. Okay, love you. Bye. And boom, there they go home, because I'm in charge, because I'm of love and of God. God is all things.
Well, you're also not making it wrong. You're not making the energy wrong.
There's nothing wrong. I have compassion for the separated energy, because it doesn't remember that it's God. It doesn't remember it's part of love. Mm-hmm. So it's like a child. If you threw a child, you could take the sweetest cherub of a child, a golden one, and throw them in a dungeon for 50 years. Yeah. What are you going to pull out in 50 years? Mm-hmm. Is it not worthy of your love because it's been terrorized for 50 years? Right. No, it's still worthy of our love. We just have to know. It doesn't mean I'm going to take it home with me and keep it in my house anymore. I have to let it go, right? And
you have to have your boundaries.
I have to have my boundaries, but I can love. And then, because the power of God, the power of love is that all things, God has full authority here, not Lucifer. That's the thing. Lucifer tries to pretend like he's got authority, but the truth is God has authority. So when we walk in love, that, disembodied energy can go, I love, I'm so blah, 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 aren't you scared? And you're like, oh, I love you. Does that work? Does the makeup does the people usually get scared with the slobber? Yeah. That's not really doing it for me. Do you need to ride home? Bye. Send you home. Mm-hmm. It's that easy, because when we're walking in love, we're not in fear. And love is the highest vibratory field you can walk in. Now we're in higher vibrational frequencies. Fear vibrates slow and low. Mm-hmm. So it's a game of vibration. Mm-hmm. Back to the math. Yeah. But how does that work in our life? It's back to these things we talk about. Where are my emotions? What is my mama, father issues? Where am I still feeling not worthy, not good enough, not loved? Can I follow it back to my inner person and then clear it? And again, I do have ways to do that. If you're ever interested in doing session work, please let me know. I do see clients. However, there's lots of tools online on my YouTube channel, Michál Anna. And there is one specific meditation on the daily tools, picking up your pearls, which is great for this, to go in, and it's all free, go in and use that to help you get in touch with your little person and find memories that you've hidden from yourself. Mm-hmm. And basically, you're getting anything I left in there. Like, oh my gosh, I left my teddy bear there. I left my third chakra on the floor. There's some of my heart is there. Oh, I thought I was not good enough, and my dad never loved me, so I dropped all my stuff. Mm-hmm. We're going to go get all your stuff, and you close that memory out to its rightful place in the light, so that you're operating in more wholeness. The goal is to be whole.
Well, and those memories don't hold anything over you anymore. So maybe you remember something, but it's not an emotional taking you to your knees kind of memory.
Which brings up why talk therapy. A lot of people have done a bunch of talk therapy. Why it doesn't work. so well because you're just remembering it.
Yeah.
If you don't go in, the reason it works that what I'm speaking of is because I'm speaking of it from going into a meditative state in the field, which means you're actually closing your eyes, going in, asking for help and guidance, and you're going into a field where you then are journeying through the dimensional frameworks to retrieve things.
Right.
You're literally getting them, and you're literally closing things out. You're not just talking about it.
Right. Not just looking at it and then saying, oh, okay. You're actually doing something about it.
Correct.
And healing it at the root.
Correct.
So it doesn't have that power anymore.
Yeah, we're zeroing it out like weeding. We're just making our garden beautiful by pulling the weeds at the root.
Yeah.
We all know if you just keep cutting them, they just grow back. So getting to the root is getting to that little person. Where is the beginning of this input? Where did this first set in for me? I need to pull it there because otherwise it's just going to come out another way.
Otherwise, I'm going to see it when I was 10 and 15 and 17 and 22 and
Until I get it.
All right, we're going to take a station break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned for more Intuitive Talk Story here on KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. Aloha Kohala. It is, let's see, what time is it? It's 3:38 on March 26th, 2025.
Oh, we just had a visitor come in the station and give us a bunch of love, dear Pamela, and also tell us about almost dying yesterday on the mountain road. To anyone out there who has been experiencing the intensity of the times, we are just sending you so much love. And I'll just share, I myself got to see Pele, Tutu Pele, last night, fountaining and bringing her beauty and love. Dear Adrian and I hellied over there yesterday.
That's a long ride too.
And wow, are we so glad we did, because it's just so magic to feel her in this time. And I feel Pele is telling everyone, let go.
Burn it off, baby.
Burn it, baby. Burn, baby, burn.
Remember that song?
Oh, I do. It was before my time, but I remember it.
It was, yes.
And I just, oh gosh, burn it out and give thanks and back to the Holy Mother, to the Tutu, to life. The mother is giving life. The mother is burning everything up. The mother is asking us to burn away all the things and allow new life to be formed from the ashes, from the fires. We can't take any of this with us. Ooh, and I say that to you from deep in my soul of burning my own. Deeply. So I say that to you and I mean it, like, ooh, and it's painful. I agree. It sucks. It can be deep and nasty, but whatever your pain is, whatever the thing is that you're ready to let go of, letting that go is going to be the propeller into the next highest version of your eternal living self, which all this is just a movie. It's just a game. It's just stories we're playing out to remember who we truly are, to get all those pieces that we're finding and leaving behind. So stay unattached and amused. Don't take it personal and let go. If there's any message today that I send forth, it's let go. We're moving into this ecliptical new beginnings, March 29th. Actually, if you follow astrology, which is cool just for natural cycles, it's fun to see how your own stuff kind of rides with the bigger cycles. It also makes you feel like, wow, I'm not totally crazy, because there's a whole lot of other stuff going on, and I think I'm just in alignment with it. So it gives you a framework sometimes, and I really enjoy that. So I enjoy understanding that we're coming into a very pivotal time where many planets are moving out of places they've been for hundreds and hundreds of years, and we're also moving out of a Pisces into the what we all know, the age of Aquarius. These are big movements of cycles. So we line up with those in our own personal lives. Well, typically line up a little bit with that, and something's playing out in alignment to that.
Yeah, and I think the listening to what's going on inside of us is just more important now than ever. I know it's whether it's a big issue or a small issue, or what's happening globally or right down the street at the banyan trees. I'm experiencing a lot of synchronicities lately. Like, I talk about somebody and then they show up the next day. I'm like, what? How is that possible?
That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That is what it is.
And that helps me to know that I am in the flow. If I'm thinking like maybe I'm not quite, I don't quite have it. Well, I don't quite have it, but I do. and I am listening and I am paying attention, and those synchronicities are informing me that I'm where I need to be right now.
That makes
Yeah.
me want to say, expect miracles. So
Yes.
as we move out of these 3D, 4D frameworks into higher frameworks, and I often joke with family members, I'm like, gosh, we were just talking about this from a really high perspective, and now we're talking about it from a 3D perspective. So stay in the high perspective, no matter what it is. See whatever. But now I'm talking about my, cleaning my bathroom. Doesn't matter. Still think about everything from within the game. You're still in the game. So anything going on is still from that higher perspective. Miracles happen. Things can take place that we don't understand, and expect it to be that way. Expect for the most unexpected, most magical things to take place. And even right now, my little cat is gone. It's a very 3D thing. I don't know. He could be.
Oh, he disappeared.
He disappeared,
Yeah.
and he's not. It's not normal. So, but I have to look at all the different angles and think, what does that mean for him? For Asha, who's actually, it's my cat's cat. It's not even my cat. It's my cat's cat.
Yeah.
And our cat's cat, the land's cat's cat. And it's just, how can I'm praying about it from a different angle. And then also, is it meant to be if he doesn't come back? I don't know. Like seeing that whatever does take place, whatever it's loss or whether it's beauty, that it's meant to be in our reality, and there's something to be gained, some lesson to be given to us. And it doesn't always turn out magical. My last experience was a lot of loss, a lot of pain, but yet a lot of beauty and a lot of magic too, because I rode all the way home, and I crushed all my illusions, and I found my infinite peace, and I see all the things. But yet there was a lot of pain along the way. So I don't think we can avoid having pain to get up the ladder. I think it's kind of painful.
Actually,
And
if you embrace that,
Embrace
that
the
could be
pain.
part of the journey, then it happens and you're like, oh, this must be the pain part. Okay, I'm going to work with this and work through this, and just take it as part of the whole. It's part of the whole. All of those ups and downs, the light, the dark, it's all part of who we are and how we move through the world. And I think I've grown up in a world that was much more, you watch movies. It's all everything. If you've ever watched the Hallmark Channel, oh my God, it's just everybody gets along and they're all nice to each other and everything's fine, and they have one little disagreement, and aside from that, it's all nice. And that's just not how we all function, and it doesn't honor that we're all different. We all have these different sides to we're multidimensional beings. So I think it's
Absolutely.
really important. When you were talking, I was also kept the word blessings. You were sharing something that you went through yesterday that led you to go to Pele last night. So it's like when we stay from that higher perspective, like, oh, how come this happened today? Oh, but because that happened, now that's going to happen. And then that, and now I'm over here, and I wouldn't have gotten over there if that didn't happen. Oh, wow, okay. And not that you know what I mean?
Right. And when I didn't share that on the air, though, I shared that to you. So let me say that so you guys
Yeah, I
know
didn't
what
wanna
she's
share it.
talking about, though. I fell on my bike. Oh, man, and I bit it on my bike. I didn't just fall. I and landed on my foot, and it was like ring, ring. Anyway.
And it hurt.
And it hurt a lot. But I honestly really could have hurt myself way worse. So I felt a lot of gratitude to have not broken my foot. And then it's healing, but I have clients, I have things I was supposed to teach. I couldn't do those things. And so it literally, Pele started going.
Yeah.
And I went, well, let's go, because I can cancel everything because I'm injured.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do that normally because I'm very responsible.
You'd push yourself.
I would totally just do what I need to do. So I wouldn't have made it to Pele. So maybe Pele threw me on the bike, threw me down, so I would get injured. So I'd get my little butt over to go see her. And so that's a better example than my cat of something happening that might be something in the good.
You might think
it's
not such a great thing, and it's not when you're hurting in that moment. It's
Exactly.
just we don't know where it's going to go, and if we can stay open to that bigger perspective, and having Pamela come in today and sharing that she's been through something and she's looking at a higher perspective of what her experience is. Years ago, it reminds me, I I was living in New York State, and I was driving just a little too fast around a corner, and we used to get this black ice, and I hit the black ice, and I knew the vehicle was going to flip, and I just closed my eyes and held on and said, "Help me, help me, help me," the vehicle landed upright, and I just sat there, and I was like, "Oh my God, thank you, I'm okay. I might be hurt, I don't know, I might be in shock, but." I'm just feeling so grateful. So even in that horrible moment of scared and oh my God, there was followed with gratitude right away, like no hesitation.
Me
So
too. I felt
yeah,
super grateful. And then I do feel very logical things too. So
of course.
spirituality and logic go hand in hand. For anyone out there who's like, well, it's just spiritual or is it logical? It's both. I'm super grateful and I'm going to slow down. I need
Yeah.
to be more aware. I was coming in too hot, too fast, and I had it on the wrong gearing. Like, I need to
Yeah.
be aware. So, there's lessons to learn as well. I'm not just like woo woo about it.
Right.
It's woo. Everything is woo woo. And it's also,
Very practical.
very practical.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
making choices that are determining my movie, right?
Yeah.
And so I take self responsibility for that, and because ultimately our true freedom is really self responsibility. If I'm willing to be responsible for myself, I can then embody true freedom.
Yes, and we're the only one we can be responsible for.
Well, many people don't necessarily want to be responsible for themselves, though. That might be true, but not everyone's taking responsibility for themselves.
Well, that's probably true.
That's pretty much why we're still here. If everyone was, remember the song "Man in the Mirror," all that. That's what the whole thing is. Like, look at yourself and take responsibility for you instead of pointing fingers. If we all did that, we'd probably live in a really cool place.
It'd be a little more peaceful, a
Yeah.
little less blamey.
Yeah, we get out of all that stuff.
Yeah, because, like you've said many times, there is nobody out there. So if I'm triggered by something somebody says or does, they're just triggering something. It's something in me that I need to look at. Some wounding, some programming that is getting triggered. It's like, oh, well, thank you for that, because now I have another clue. It's like a game, it's another clue. And let me look at that clue and see what that's going to tell me so that I can move through that one till the next one comes, and then there'll be another one. And in between that, we're going to laugh and we're going to have some fun.
Yes. And I do want to say, though, disclaimer, if you are in an abusive relationship or anything of the like,
Yes.
I myself have been there, and in times of this journey, and I will say this, I was there because of my own wounding, but you don't have to stay anywhere because you've been wounded, nor does anybody need to treat anyone in a poor framework. So if you're in an unsafe situation, always make sure you get out, always make sure you find help or something like that, and know that we are creating our reality at all times, and the things that are in front of us are there to show us. And then we see it, can remove ourselves and move into different frameworks. And I feel that, I've had a couple instances in my journey that have been very growthful through my time frames to understand these different pantheons, because it's a lot of the framework I actually work within too, of helping others to get out of traumatizing situations and to claim your sovereignty and freedom. So, I just wanted to say that. And I also wrote a poem yesterday or 2 days ago.
Well, let me comment on that, and then you can share your poem.
Okay.
So what came up for me when you were talking about that is that I feel there are varying degrees of behaviors from others that we need to look at and speak to and get comfortable with and not comfortable with. So, like, to me, there's a real extreme when somebody smacks somebody across the face. Like, that is, get the heck out of there yesterday, right?
Right.
But then there's
Definite
these
physical
other
abuse.
more subtle. I used to live with someone who was pretty passive aggressive. And so it's like you can put up with that. That's not the same as getting swatted across the head.
Mm-hmm.
But it does damage.
Yeah.
If I continue to allow that passive aggressive behavior in my space, and I don't call it and I don't speak to it and I don't say, hey, you can't do that with me. That's not acceptable. So just wanted to mention that because I feel like I've lived through different varying degrees of unacceptable behavior. And that's part of my voice coming out and saying, you know what, that's not okay. It might seem like some little tiny little thing, but it's important that we acknowledge it and honor ourselves with it first.
And I love what you're saying. And also, I was kind of thinking in myself, like, see, back to that, yours thing is to speak the truth, and mine has always been like, I can't help but speak the truth. So because I can't help but to speak the truth, my relationships that were sort of abusive, or they were passive aggressive, or they were demeaning or mean to me, I never put up with it. I always spoke the truth, which just created problems, which just created, arguments, because I would fight for myself.
Yeah.
See, so if you're not fighting for yourself, then
that's another issue.
Right. So then if you're not fighting for yourself and you're experiencing that same thing, then you're going and hiding away and feeling like, see, nobody ever sees, and you're probably bottling a lot up.
Yeah.
Because I can, from my own experience, know how intense that feels, and to not be heard or say anything and to be treated poorly is devastating.
Yeah.
So this goes back into programs, though. We're running things. Victim-victimizer program is heavily at play when this kind of stuff's happening on someone's part. There's also, for instance, in some of our cases, we get this empathic and hurt entanglement. Someone who's really entangled and wound, and someone who has a really empathic heart. I just want to help. That happens a lot. So those of you who have empathic hearts,
is that a little bit of a fix-it thing?
Eila and I have had to learn the hard way in our lives at different points. I've definitely been involved in empathic and narcissistic relationship that was difficult and painful. And it was because I wanted, you just want to love and bring the person home. You see them, you see their beauty, their joy.
Potential.
We're all gorgeous beings. We're all potential.
Yeah.
But what's really there? What's the real capacity now? And is there a framework for love that can really be supported? And get real about what you're really dealing with. So those of you in relationships, be real about what you're dealing with, and what's mine and what's yours. And then you might actually succeed, if you get real with each other and take responsibility for what's yours and what belongs to somebody else.
Yeah. And I think, we can love each other. That doesn't mean we have to be engaged with each other all the time.
We don't. And we'd also, and some of us shouldn't be in relationships, obviously. So if we don't, it's too far apart. The empathic to the very wounded person is a real far stretch, and we just give thanks and praise and allow everyone the ability to move forward on their path. That kind of leads into my poem, actually, because it's really about this, actually. It's about exactly what we're saying.
Go ahead.
And I was gardening, and it just was flooding through my mind, so I had to just let it come out. So this was 2 days ago, but it's all about this. So I hope you find it meaningful. Crumbling one's illusions is no easy task. Many yearn to be free and certainly ask. Yet is one willing to let go of the things that hold them captive, or do they prefer the comfort of the blanket that they've been wrapped in? Phantom postcards dangle, creating desire in the mind, seeping through those wounds in those places that still bind. The morning star promises light if you buy into its snapshot life. It takes our surrender, our letting go of the path we think we must render. I wasn't in it for the title of the role. I was there to love, evolve, and grow. But I realize in the dense game, the pure heart crew doesn't rule. Most people are in it for themselves and will think you're a fool. The earth game is one with fragments and souls playing from many stations. It's important to understand the quantum physics and vibrations. If indeed one would like to release their pain and go home, it's fine to also take the path to the no remembrance zone. There is no judgment. There is only choice. Everyone must listen to their own internal voice to find the God of their heart and choose to hold on to the light or to flee. For some, the idea of freedom is too great of a responsibility. And that's okay, because we are in many timelines and just one timeline. Each soul has many rounds to repair the mind. If no platform of love is to be found, it's probably not going to happen in this round. Inversions have to be undone. There is no other way to remember the sun. Setting the chem codes upright, embodying sacred union and unfiltered sight. The way of truth, reverence, and sovereignty, founded on a pure heart that radiates free. This is the way home to the golden sun, a humble path of love and fun. Yeah, there are many choices to be had. Something is experienced in being mad or sad. It is our choice how long we hold on to the pain, how long we take to learn the lessons that are being offered. If we climb the hills and conquer ourselves with every step, something is put in the coffer. Nothing is wasted. All energy belongs to the one. No matter what path one takes, all returns to the sun. Available energy is here for you. Rise and birth anew. Expand and multiply. Release the Fibonacci lie. Activate the Trinity, the 12 inside of thee. Embody the activated angelic humanity. I am love. I am sovereign. I am free.
Thank you. Isn't that beautiful? So in ending the show today, I need to speak my truth, which is that I've had a joyful, deep ride with you on this show, Intuitive Talk Story, and it's time for me to move on. Mm-hmm. And what happens after today, I don't know. But
yes.
I have a need to step back from KNKR. I'm going to have my Last Women's Voices show today too, and just create some space. And I want to thank you for all of the sharing that we've had over the years. It's really been an amazing ride, and I've learned a lot, and I've grown a lot, and I've seen you grow a lot, and it's really been an honor. So thank you, Michál.
I so agree, Eila. I love you. It's been so honoring and beautiful and fun to share this time with you. And who knows, we may share it again. But just for all the audience out there, Pamela just came in here and showered us with love, and I felt like, oh gosh. So it really makes me feel like I want to keep the show going and hold the space, and maybe, have some other folks come and speak with me and do some experiencing that way. And then of course hold space for Eila to come back and share with us again when she's ready.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love you and honor your experience and the closure of this time, and perfect timing as we are in the ending of endings, beginning of beginnings, and releasing things that just aren't serving or in alignment. And this is a great note, actually, that something doesn't have to be wrong
Exactly.
for it to no longer serve you.
Yeah.
It can just be time to do something different. It can just be, I need to experience this, or something's calling me. There doesn't have to be a problem for you to let go of something and move into another framework. So we don't hold, there's no, and Eila and I have nothing but love. We're making transitions, but in love and in beauty and in continued friendship.
And honoring who we each are.
Yeah.
And see what happens next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So may all the transitions out there be powerful and beautiful and supportive like this. And we just have had so much fun being here with you all.
It's been fabulous. It's really been great. All right.
Thank you, Eila.
Thank you. Aloha, everyone.